watching Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal.
Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. 21-7 at the half. Georgia Tech over NC State. Welcome back to Raleigh, North Carolina, everybody. Very interesting ball game. It looked like Georgia Tech for a while was just going to run NC State out of their own stadium, but they've come back. It's only a 14-point ball game.
They've hung in there, and run is the word that I would use. This is a football team at Georgia Tech. Yes, they can throw the big plays, but they average $3.99 a game on the ground. Run the football. I expect to see Georgia Tech come out and impose their will on this NC State defense.
NC State really had two really good drives. They scored on one. The other one, which had to be a major disappointment for them, they couldn't get it in the end zone. That would have made it a 7-point ball game. But it has to encourage them a little bit.
I used to use the word with my youth football teams when I was coaching them. I tell the kids, I said, don't dilly-dally around. You know, when you got somebody that you can go put your foot on the throat, get after it. And I think that's what Georgia Tech has the ability to do with the ground game that opens up the pass. Now, conversely, for NC State, Tom O'Brien's group has to be ecstatic that they're in this game. And they've got to continue to control the clock, but put points on the board at the end of those drives.
Sennin and Perkins are deep. Perkins from the 5. And just barely gets back to the 20-yard line. Here's our Pac-Life game summary, Craig.
Opening drive, such a big decision, a good decision by Paul Johnson. NC State had stopped Tech, and they have the fake punt. And that was 4th and 10. That kept the opening drive alive. They go down and they get points. I thought that was a critical play. And then the execution on the blocking has been spectacular by the offensive line and by the blockers. Now, they did have the one touchdown that came back because of the holding call on the outside by Orvin Smith. But other than that, very good execution.
Washington on the keeper. He'll only get about a yard that time. Nice tackle, chased down from behind by Art Norman. And again, if you joined us late, this NC State defensive line has just been decimated by injuries. They only have one starter from what they hope to have at that defensive line. And he's not playing in the same place, and it's Daryl Cato Bishop, who moves inside to a tackle spot this week. Washington on the keeper again and pays the price. Middle linebacker Audie Cole stuck him on that one.
Audie Cole moved from the outside linebacker position to the inside. Now he's sitting here and he's in all this traffic. Watch how well he uses his hands to avoid the cut block. You see that? And he gets right back up and goes to the quarterback. So you can call that a missed block. No, you can call that great execution by Audie Cole. A good player, a leader of that defense.
And that's just practice. You learn how to fend off a blocker. You learn how to go down and pop straight back up, and he did it to perfection. 3rd and 6. Washington, good blocking on this little rollout. Had a man wide open again and missed him. Orwin Smith coming out of the backfield. And Tevin Washington, who was touted as one of the better passers in this kind of an offensive system, has missed about 4 big plays today. And I mean huge.
Yeah, and you know what? This is, at this point here now, NC State has to say, okay, I'm going to continue to load the box. I'm going to be up there very aggressive with my safeties because I haven't been burned yet. Until Tevin Washington connects on one of those wide open throws, keep rolling the dice. Get them up in there.
2 of the last 3 drives, Georgia Tech has gone 3 and out. Poole to punt to Graham. Short, Graham on the run, bobbled it. And it looks like State got it back. Georgia Tech says, no, we've got it.
That's Katie barred the door, perhaps, if Graham doesn't bobble that short punt.
He had a seam, didn't he? And they got it back. 3-yard return after only a 24-yard punt. Another poor kick by Sean Poole. NC State gets a break. They'll have the ball when we come back. Down only 2 touchdowns.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
It's being called one of the best new shows of the season and America's new Sunday addiction. The sky's the limit for the globe-trotting adventures of ABC's Pan Am. Tomorrow night, 10 Eastern, 9 Central on ABC. That is a good show.
I watched it. You watched it the other night?
Yes, I did.
Loved it.
Yes,
My
I
daughter
did.
Kaylin and I, we sat there and watched it. It was a flashback. You know, it makes you want to go back to those times.
Absolutely.
At least on the flying.
Yeah, that's right. Washington. Stiff arm gets him free. 10-5 touchdown NC State.
Big Zach Allen, 72. He comes across and just gets a mugging block, several mugging blocks in there. And then Washington using his strength. This is strength more than it is speed, carrying his pads. Got him past the secondary.
A 46-yard touchdown run, his longest of the season. And look who, with an extra point, is within a touchdown. For all the world in the first quarter, it looked like they could lose this game 80-0. And they're back within 7.
Well, I had it at 79 maybe to nothing. But anyway, it was a big number. Now you've got to get Georgia Tech, and they got to get focused. It's time for them to play ball.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. Cabot. Finish like a pro with Cabot wood stains. Cabot. That's pro. And Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Just some of the notable Wolfpack stars that have gone on to stand out NFL careers. Torrey Holt, Mario Williams, Phillip Rivers, the tremendous quarterback. Torrey Holt was as good a receiver as there's been in a long, long time at any level of football.
Phillip Rivers wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't.
Still isn't bad.
Yeah. Paul Johnson said this week he was tired of poor kickoff returns. Promised there'd be some changes on this unit. Tried some different guys back there. Zenon will take this one up across the 20-yard line.
Let's go back and look at execution of this touchdown. You've got a good job inside with the guard and left guard in the center. Zach Allen comes around and he seals here. You've got a combo block, then next level here. This is execution, the way you draw it up in the meeting room and taking it to the playing field. Everyone doing their job. This team last week on a Thursday night at Cincinnati that I watched, they ran for negative 23 yards. They didn't do any of that stuff back then.
That stiff arm is a big weapon. He used it beautifully there. Georgia Tech trying to get back to offense. Here's Smith. This is the big guy. You don't see many wing backs or A-backs as they call them at 6 feet 202. And he's got power.
Well, I think Georgia Tech certainly has the potential to wake back up and to get going, because they have not done anything since those first 3 drives. That play right there, the option play, getting to the outside, getting the blocks going again downfield. That's what they need.
Well, they had some opportunities in the passing game, and Washington failed to hit wide open receivers. He'll keep here and pick up 5, maybe even 6. If you're a defensive coordinator, Craig, and you're looking at this offense, you've got to concentrate on the run. You got to take your chances in the passing game.
And especially since you've seen in this game here, Tevin Washington has not hit the open receivers.
Right.
So yes, load up, make him beat you with his arm. Now that time there, they got up the field, NC State did, but the interior pursuit, the inside linebacker didn't come inside and make a play for it.
Smith and Jones are the A-backs. And Washington again, nice decision there as he is reading the defense during the play. depending on what a defensive end does, is his cue to do something else. He read it well that time.
Yeah, this is what we saw the other day against South Carolina, up the field, forcing plays inside. They're not going to allow the pitch to take place. They're going to force the quarterback to run in the middle. Now you got to have middle support. The alley play on the outside, the alley support from the safety is gone. Now it's the inside.
Sims, the fullback, looking for another block. Sims at the 20, down to the 12-yard line. Wilson finally made the tackle, but Sims went for 41 yards.
You notice something missing in this drive? The pass. This is run. This football team runs for $3.99 a game. This is getting back to the bread and butter. That's the be back at the guard's fanny, hand him the football, and out-execute him.
Boy, Jay Finch, the center, just went downfield and cleared a path for Sims. Tremendous blocking. Washington again, following the center, Finch, and the right guard, Uzi.
That's that midline play where the quarterback fakes to the fullback and follows him up in there. I've always liked that in this offense, and that's where the game is now. Paul Johnson, you see, he's noticed that those ends are getting up the field, taking away the pitch. So he's attacking the middle of the field. 5
straight running plays, 14, 6, 7, 41, and 5 yards.
Very important. The guard, the 2 defensive tackles to move around, make him read, make the quarterback wonder where the defense is coming from.
Quarterback keeper, maybe a yard that time, and it was Art Norman, the defensive end, making the tackle. One of the guys they've been using on defense, Taylor Gentry, who was the starting fullback, volunteered to play defensive tackle this week at only 250 pounds. He's hurting out of the ball game right now. So many injuries along that line, even with offensive volunteers.
Excellent job there. Second effort. That's what you have to have from the defensive tackle. Second effort getting to the quarterback, helping to stop a big play.
Smith and Jones, the outside guys. Lyons in the middle. Lyons gets a carry. Stopped between the 3 and the 4-yard line. This will be a 4th and short. Maybe 2 yards.
Well, I think in Paul Johnson's mind, the way he thinks historically, it's not 4th and 2, it's 4th and makeable.
Good point.
4th and makeable. That's his mind. There's Mike Archer, the D coordinator. He's going to try to pinch him in there. Will they stay inside and pinch hard as a defense and allow the outside pitch, or stay outside and force them inside?
They show blitz. Washington with a keeper, and he didn't get it. There is also a flag down. And Washington may have made the wrong read that time. We'll check the penalty.
It's going to be offsides.
Oh, wouldn't that be a backbreaker?
Offside. Defense. Half the distance to the goal. Will measure for a first down.
I don't have a problem with this, though, defensively, because if you sit back, they're gonna gash you. You have to become aggressive, and now they're starting to play on their toes at NC State. And I believe what they're wondering was Will Jackson, the left guard, had he moved just a little bit. The number 52, the left guard, yeah, I think it, but nonetheless, you know what? This is a defense that has to begin to play more on their toes. The ball's at their feet, not flat-footed.
Dwayne Maddox was the player called for offside. So it's not an automatic first down. It's a half the distance to the goal. So they measure it. It is not a first down. Now it'll be 4th and inches. And they're out to go again. Not a moment's hesitation on the part of Paul Johnson. Washington quarterback keeper. Got a couple of inches. It all depends on the spot.
Yep, where the officials come running in from on the side. Where did the ball go? Where was when the progress stopped? Where was the football? Good job there by Sims going up and helping out best he could.
The yellow line not official, but it's always very close, and it looked like he got it. They'll bring in the chains, however, to make sure.
How about Georgia Tech, though, answering in a big way offensively, having to come down the field?
And they're going to be short.
Wow.
Looked like a pretty good spot for the Wolfpack, didn't it?
It absolutely was a good spot for NC State. I'm not sure Georgia Tech would be very happy with the way that spot was. And here's a defense that came out and looked just different. They gave up a big long run, but they didn't melt when they got down to the red zone, which has been a problem for them. Again, and like you said, Mike, the yellow line is not the official line. It's just a matter of where they think the football is when the forward progress stops.
From that angle, he is clearly across that line. And you see the forward motion that he got. And I'm surprised that Georgia Tech did not challenge. They may have thought about it, but they didn't do it. And now NC State trying to get some running room.
All right, now here's a 3-4 traditional defense by Al Groh. He's going to start to change it up here in the second half. I think he needs to, because you're allowing NC State to control the clock and the tempo and keeping it away from his offense.
Ball's moved out to the 8. They need to make the 13 for a first down. A lot of people appeared to leave this facility at the half. Most of them are back. They may have gone to their car, turned on the radio, and went, say what?
Tailgate week.
Washington again. He's got the first down.
This is a numbers game. There's 7 in the box, and NC State's offensive line is feeling it. Compared to the last game they played against Cincinnati, they weren't pushing anyone around. Now you're getting Washington lathered up a little bit, and they're finding creases in that Georgia Tech defense. I think we're going to see Al Groh again. He's got to change it up, give him a different look.
And they turned around Logan Walls, the nose tackle. They just pushed him out of the way. Washington again, couple this time.
Okay, now we were in our meetings last night, and we're talking about NC State's offense, and I said this is a running offense. They want to run the ball. And then we had the discussion. Well, it's not indicative by the numbers, and we had this discussion about
85 yards a game.
Absolutely. Dana Bible and Tom O'Brien want to run the football, and as long as they have 4-yard gains like that, they're going to continue to run the football, and it's going to set up that play action pass.
And the only reason you're pointing this out is because you were correct.
Well, I was nervous. Y'all were. I had my doubts, but they're feeling it right now.
You were absolutely correct. And Atalchu is the injured Georgia Tech player. He's being tended to. But you're right. The passing game got off to a horribly slow start. They came out, found they could run the ball, and they've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, it's keeping Georgia Tech on the sidelines. But you see the number of drives. This 19 right here, 9. And you know, here's the touchdown there. One play, the big play. You have to have explosive plays when you're down so much to be able to get back in a game. And they got it.
Atalchu being assisted to the sideline. That does not look good. And this young man came over from Nigeria. His family moved here. His dad, Paul, came over several years in advance, worked 2 jobs, saved the money, earned 2 degrees as a minister and a nurse. Still works 2 jobs to support his family, and he's got a smart young man who's down playing linebacker at Georgia Tech.
All right, Dana Bible's changed it up. Empty set, gone 5 receivers.
Here comes the blitz. They throw to get the first down, and they got it out to Washington, who split out as a flanker that time. So the wheels are turning on the coach's sideline thinking.
And right now, Dana Bible advantage him. And when he went empty set like that, this was a formation. You see Sweeting, number 6, sitting back, not really respecting the strength of that throw. Glennon's strength, getting the ball quickly out to Washington, allowed Washington to get his shoulder pads north so he can make them move.
Coaches have never had any concern about his arm. I mean, he has a big-time arm. Washington swallowed up on first down. Gained maybe a yard. Malcolm Monroe's in there for Atalchu. Was in on the stop.
You notice there, Georgia Tech coming hard off the corners there, pinching off the side. sitting back no longer. They will make some adjustments here. But as long as Glennon is completing those short, high percentage throws, it's going to allow them to keep the numbers inside and run the football.
Huge day for Washington. 15 carries, 119 yards, 5 catches for 35 more. He has been the offense. Another blitz. This time they get to Glennon, and down he goes inside the 20. And it was Malcolm Monroe getting his first sack of the year. Coming off the edge, and Glennon couldn't get rid of it in time.
5 rushers coming. Mike Glennon has to know to get rid of the football. That football, when he faked it, it's got to be gone. He doesn't have the 3 seconds that a normal drop would be with normal protection. Nobody in the backfield to help block. They're all out. It's 5 receivers. You got to get rid of the ball.
Glennon has had a good day on 3rd down, 5 out of 8, but he faces a 3rd and a mile on this one. Draw play. Washington. Excuse me, Creasy. And Burnett makes the tackle on Creasy.
Georgia Tech's defense there on that 2nd down play, making a play, stopping this drive. You know, going to 3rd and 10, it's just it's a low percentage conversion, and Algrove's defense stepped up.
Fair catch made back at the 32-yard line by Lasky after a punt of 38 yards. No return. Georgia Tech now clinging to a touchdown lead. Can they move the ball on offense again?
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Georgia Tech dominated the first half, but NC State has come back. Washington having the game of his life, 161 total yards. And now Georgia Tech will start from its own 33 with 5:24 to go 3rd quarter. Smith and Jones on the flanks. Washington a keeper. Robert Flores has an update from the studio. Robert?
Mike, Robert Griffin III of Baylor University has 17 touchdowns this season and 16 incompletions on the year. He's got 4 touchdowns right now against Kansas State. That went to Kendall Wright. Baylor leading K-State by 2, 28-26.
Robert, thank you. And it's one of the most remarkable statistics there's ever been. Hill on the flanker around. Boy, what a good job by Sylvester Crawford. Even though he didn't make the tackle, he made Hill gain ground and gave time for his teammates to get there in pursuit.
Yeah, I think this defensive line is starting to see the game a lot better now, the interior of NC State. I thought it was a good call by Paul Johnson because they're trying to redirect those eyes, make them think out there, put them on flat foot.
Well, they have told the Georgia Tech offense, we're going to cover the wings. You got to go up the middle to get anything. Washington forced to keep it again. And he's not going to get the first down. Stopped at the 42-yard line. What a nice adjustment by the NC State defense.
Audie Cole again, the middle linebacker, leader of this football team. Had 16 tackles against Cincinnati last week. And again, redirecting, almost making the play solo, but because he got out there, off of his legs, center can't get to him, he's playing off, forces the quarterback to bow back.
Georgia Tech is at least going to come to the line on 4th and 1. Oh, and they got NC State to jump offside again. Holy cow. We had a similar play to this a couple of weeks ago.
Offsides. Defense. 5 yards. Result on 1st down.
Where the offensive lineman would reach up when somebody's in the neutral zone and make contact.
Now Theo Rich, he's made a couple of nice plays over the last 4 or 5, and just got to watch the football, especially in that situation. It's inexcusable.
They had Orwin Smith make that quick little move from the wing to go in the backfield, and that's what drew him offside. Little inside handoff this time to Peebles, and he's not going anywhere. And another flag is down. This was thrown out on the perimeter, and it's going to be a clip. That's going to move Georgia Tech.
During the run, clip on the offense, 15 yards, previous spot, repeat first down.
Well, they're not giving us any numbers of guys who are committing these fouls right now.
I tell you now, Paul Johnson has to be thinking, this defense is up there, they're bunched up. It's about time for a pass. You know, now you got to get back and find a way to get the ball in Stephen Hill's hands. He's been open. You got to get Washington to complete the pass.
Washington has missed several big opportunities. They'll keep it on the ground. Peebles pushed out of bounds near the 45-yard line.
Well, the offense at Georgia Tech has put up some gaudy numbers this season. And today, they came out, and when they've had the ball, for the most part, they've done pretty well. But you see that 49 number there?
That's the difference.
That's a big one.
265-yard rushing. That is pretty much on track for their season average. But Tevin Washington has missed several big pass plays that could have inflated that number, and Mike Archer is very grateful that he's missed. Got a man wide open here down the sideline, and it's Orwin Smith out of the backfield. Washington barely got that throw there.
I just could feel it. You know, the pass was coming, and it again is it's a wobbly ball, poorly thrown, but it's at least completed this time. And NC State has been doing the right thing. That foot's in. It is in.
How close is that?
Yeah, there's green between the shoe and the white, but NC State's got to maintain their aggressiveness up front and force Washington to beat them with a throw.
They're going to review this, but I think they'll find he was in. Earl Wolf, the safety, was the man that was beaten. His
Previous
responsibility.
plays under further review. The ruling on the field is a catch.
It was his responsibility to cover Orwin Smith out of the backfield, and Smith beat him.
Smith's a guy who had over 100 rushing and 100 receiving against Kansas. Yep. This is a multi-talented player, and that's what Paul Johnson likes from that A-back, wing-back position. You got to have, you know, a lot of guys who are converted quarterbacks, tailbacks, who can block, who can catch, a little bit of everything.
Remember, the standard is indisputable evidence. That is not indisputable. Nor that. If anything, you would have to say it shows he was in, not out. If you're Washington and you've missed 4 or 5 really big throws, now you get so tentative. All you're doing is putting it up in the air and hope it lands in the right place.
Well, that was
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Catch.
Crowd doesn't like it, but obviously the right call by the officiating crew.
And Paul Johnson knows, too, that 37, Tyrell Burris, is a true freshman. And he's in the backfield. That eye candy we showed you at the beginning of the game that happens to so many secondaries against this triple option offense. You get caught back there looking, peeking, seeing what's happening. Next thing you know, the receiver's behind you 10 yards.
Fresh set of downs. Sims swallowed up, somehow stayed on his feet. T.Y. McGill, big number 75, wrapped him up, thought he had him down.
Mike, here's the difference in this ballgame in the second half. Watch the penetration over here. When the defensive tackles are having this kind of success, it just disrupts things. It forces things to happen that you don't want to have happen. And I think the defensive line of NC State has absolutely woken up here and playing much better.
Well, they tried to cut T.Y. McGill at 290 pounds. He wasn't having any part of it. He just ran over the blocker. Smith goes in motion again. That's the jet sweep that they like. He's inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line.
The Big O. Orwin Smith, I like this guy. I like how he runs the ball. He's bigger than most A-backs. He's 202 pounds. Been heavy to the right side, and on the outside, they even call themselves, we've been much more of a perimeter football team this year than in the past.
Most football teams are right-handed.
I never thought about it. It would have been confusing.
Smith, another jet sweep blocker in front. And if number 24, Embry Peoples, took his man to the ground, that could have been a touchdown.
That's what I like about good football teams, is when they understand offensively right now what they have to do, and they go out and they execute and they get it done. And this all now goes back, remember, on this series, the 4th and inches and the offside jump by NC State.
Huge play. Now, you don't know whether Georgia Tech was actually going to go for it or they were just trying to draw them offside, but either way, they've kept the drive alive, and Sims is down to the 7. Maddox makes the tackle. And if Georgia Tech is not in a hurry, this would be the last play of the 3rd quarter. And Washington doesn't get it set up in time. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. NC State has fought its way back into this ball game after being down 21-0. Can they complete this comeback?